If you ever tried to understand energy, you were probably just as confused as I was the first time I tried to understand it. So let's talk about energy in depth. First of all, I want to tell you that energy is a completely made-up concept. It is not real. Energy, like I told you before, with the first video of this entire series, is a made-up model of how to explain the physical world around us. So energy is the capacity of something to change. The capacity to act on an object, the capacity to do what is called work on an object. And so there's different types of energy. And so the best way to remember this, even though it's kind of hokey, is to draw this little diagram called an energy alien. The energy alien is oriented and organized in the way it is based off of a future concept called entropy. So there's a plug-in to keep watching. Now, there's a type of energy called gravitational potential energy. This is the highest point on our alien. It's one of his eyeballs. Gravitational potential energy is the capacity for something to fall. So an object that is this high has less gravitational potential energy than an object that is this high. It can fall this much more than where it was before. So things that are higher up have more gravitational potential energy. You can flutter your eyelids, so you're able to remember kinetic energy. This is with the eyeball of this energy alien. Kinetic energy is the capacity to move. That is one of the best ways that we transfer energy between objects. Something moving fast has more energy than something moving slow. You inherently, intuitively understand that. Something has more capacity to do damage, to do work, if it is moving faster than something else. The tongue of our energy alien is elastic potential energy. Elastic energy is moving something away from where it wants to be, like a rubber band or a piece of wood, and having it snap back to the way it was before. If you deform something by bending it, mushing it, mashing it up, it wants to move back to the way it used to be, and that can be stored as elastic potential energy. The neck of the alien is, oddly enough, these three types of energy: neck, nuclear, electric, and chemical. These are all potential energies. Nuclear energy goes back to that interaction called the nuclear strong force. It is energy that is contained within the nucleons, which are protons and neutrons inside of the nucleus of an atom. Electric potential energy is energy done through the movement of electrons. Whenever you flip on a switch, or even the video that's doing this, you are able to harness this electric potential energy to do work, to see what's going on. Chemical energy is the energy that's contained within bonds. Now this can take a variety of formats. Every type of chemistry class is based only on this type of energy. It is the type of bonds between, say, a carbon and another carbon, or a hydrogen and a hydrogen. There is energy contained in those bonds that can be harnessed to do useful work. That's what happens when you burn oil, when you burn coal. Even the gasoline inside your car comes from this exact same concept. At the very bottom is thermal energy. Thermal energy has been called microscopic kinetic energy, because as you'll learn in future chapters, thermal energy is just the random vibration of little molecules and atoms. They're always constantly moving, therefore they always have this thermal heat. So these types of energies help to kind of organize how this alien looks. You got his eyeballs, you can remember that eyeballs move, kinetic energy, elastic potential energy for his tongue, his neck, and thermal energy is where his heart is. This is organized in this way due to a future chapter, so let's transition to what work is. Work is defined as a force over a distance. And this is how you transform from one type of energy to another. We're not going to go super in depth like into the measurements called joules and things, but we're just going to say that you can transfer between gravitational and kinetic. Thank heavens you can, or we'd never survive going around the sun. You can transfer between elastic and kinetic energy. That's how things are able to move. You can transfer between electric energy and kinetic energy. Electric energy is what allows your fan to be able to rotate. It's what drives your hairdryer. Chemical energy can be harnessed to do all of these. You burn something to create heat, or you burn something to make something move, or you burn something in a rocket to give it gravitational potential energy to move outside of the Earth's atmosphere. So all of these explanations are a man-made, made-up thing to explain this quantity called energy, which is the capacity to change, the capacity to do work. It's a very out there kind of brainy concept. Now, let's talk about heat transfer. Heat, like I told you before, is just little molecules bouncing around. And so there's three separate ways that these molecules, or this energy, this heat, could be transferred to other substances. The first is conduction. Conduction is touching something hot and having it burn you. The very fast-moving, vibrating particles run into your slower-moving, colder molecules and causes you to be burned. That's what happens when a small child touches a stove. They are being burned through this process of conduction. Secondly, convection. Convection is using some type of medium, some type of energy storage to transfer energy to something else. Let me explain. Your furnace burns natural gas, other fuels, to help heat up air. That air then circulates throughout your house to help warm you up. Those are called convection currents. There's also convection currents in the atmosphere. The sun heats at the equator. The equator creates hotter air that then rises up and moves to the colder regions of the Earth. Air is used as a medium or a transfer of heat. Third, radiation. Radiation is heat traveling by itself. That's exactly how energy comes from the sun. The sun's energy goes on these things called electromagnetic waves, which go throughout space and touch us here on Earth. These electromagnetic waves don't need any type of medium, and we're not directly touching them, so they are their own classification of how energy is transferred. Thank you for watching.